What's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's been a minute since we've done some evaluating of Spotlight caches in Marvel Snap, and well, we've got all the information that we need for the summer spotlights to hit the game. I'm going to go week by week, and we're going to talk about my favorite cards, which weeks I think you should invest in or save your tokens, and this is going to be a bit more difficult than usual as there's a lot of good weeks, but also it's more flavor picks. What kind of cards do you enjoy in the game? Which ones do I see aging well? And this is always a video I take really close to my heart because it's tough. It's tough for myself, but also tough for you guys to make the decisions with a very scarce resource. So we're going to go week to week. Let's jump in and start with July. All right, now coming out in just a couple days here, we have week number 1, and that's going to be with Hydra Bob coming to the game, Nebula, and of course, Galactus. Now, I've done some evaluating on not only the new cards on its own dedicated video, but also the snapshot of this upcoming season, if you want to see my opinions there. But I'll talk slightly about the new cards and obviously the cards that are in here, like Galactus and Nebula. This is about a 2-star week for me here, mainly, obviously, because of Nebula and Galactus. Galactus being always worth, big bad. I kind of hate that term, but always being a Series 5 card. Nebula is not Series 5, but still just a great card in general. And Hydra Bob, not so much. Overall, I would say skip this week because Hydra Bob isn't exactly a game-changing card. We have plenty great ones coming. Unless you really want to play Galactus and you want to test your luck a little bit there. But your consolation prize is Bob. And I'm not saying Bob's bad. It's not exactly, getting Galactus. And so this is probably more of an easy skip for me personally. Now, the next week we've got is Ajax coming to the game alongside Darkhawk and Beta Ray Bill. And right off the bat, guys, just banger variants and pretty tasty cards. Yeah, this one's a tough one, right? Because Ajax has a lot of boom or burst potential. He's either going to be really solid in that archetype or just kind of falls flat. So it will depend on him. But the biggest puzzle about this week that I also mentioned in the Snapchat is Cassandra Nova could be and should be a really good card. We're going to talk about her in a second. And Ajax might be a pivotal piece in her core decks. And so we're going to have to see if he's like a pretty good card and then later in the week he turns out to be like really good or at least, on the edge of competitive. I think Cassandra is going to take him to the next level. Alongside him, you have Darkhawk, who... Listen, Darkhawk is kind of always going to be around in the meta. The way that Korg and Rockslide are played and you're junking your opponent's deck, I see all these cards, honestly, being with Cassandra Nova, putting more cards in the deck that you can siphon the power from, all that good jazz, right? So altogether, Darkhawk, great card, and Beta Ray Bill, who is a fun card. Don't think he's that great. The problem with Beta Ray Bill is that you're the guy that's landing the planes and the highlighting vest saying, land here, or, I'm doing this one thing. Now, sometimes they can't stop that one thing, but it's pretty telegraphable. Altogether, probably like a 3-star. It's going to really fluctuate. Let's say this. I'm going to give it like a 2.5 to 3, up to a 4, depending on what happens with Ajax and how he lands. But if you don't have Darkhawk, great card. I don't know, man. This is a tough one. Ajax is really going to depend this week. Let's be honest. I would say I'm more keen towards skipping it because a lot of you guys watching this probably have Darkhawk, and if you do, you could probably skip this week. If you really want Ajax, I would maybe go the token route. Now, the next week, though, might be my personal favorite. In fact, I could easily say it is. Copycat, at least the one that I am looking at when I made this video, I'll update it in the comments if anything changes, can steal, gain information, great value stats, and have tremendous ability pop-off with just a great new card potential. And on top of that, she's combined with Thanos and freaking Cold Obsidian, both great cards in their own kind of right and or cards you want to have in your collection. For me personally, this is probably a 5-star week or damn near close. Love Copycat as a card. I see her being very competitive in Snap, unless, this changes. And Thanos is Thanos. Cold Obsidian is played a lot less, but is going to work in a lot of the decks that you want to run him in. Probably going to give this overall like a 4-star, closer to 5 because of Copycat, and then you got Thanos in there as well. Overall, guys, strong week. If you already have the cards, maybe go the token route. Copycat, in my opinion, we're going to have to see, is probably a must-have. If you don't have Thanos, I would say open for the caches. If you do have Thanos, maybe just go the token route for Copycat. And then, guys, that takes us to the weirdest week that we've had in Snap. Cassandra Nova here is going to be in the Deadpool's Diner to access her. And so we already know we're going to have 3 cards, and one of which is Mysterious, to be in this week, and I think they're making up that fact with 2 other really good confirmed cards in Proxima Midnight and Hope Summers. I mean, if there was a new card this week, this would be a no-brainer. Like, Hope Summers is Hope freaking Summers. If you don't have her, if you missed that season, it's a must-have card. Proxima makes this card competitive and good. We're going to have to see who the third card is. Maybe, again, by now it's already launched, and if it is, go check in the comments down below. But altogether, really like this week for the Hope Summers piece. But there's no new card. So for those of you that are kind of behind and don't have all the cards, maybe this is a strong week for you. If you already have the cards, obviously, you can just go ahead and skip this one, as August is going to bring a lot of tough decisions. I think July's easier. There's definitely clear-cut, better weeks than not. August, though, we've got a lot of good stuff happening. Let's jump to it. So the Young Avengers season is going to start off with Marvel Boy, who already looks to be one of the better freaking cards in the month. Again, you can go ahead and check out this video. You can see the thumbnail here, and this is going to break down all my thoughts and breakdowns of said cards. But I liked Marvel Boy, spoiler alert, very strong. And he comes alongside Red Hulk and Blob. If I didn't need any extra encouragement to get Marvel Boy, your consolation prize here is Red Hulk and Blob. A very, very good week full of just like the big boys, right? Like Blob and Red Hulk. Blob has soared in popularity with Airsham if you have him. And then Red Hulk, you're just going to be using all the time. 4.5-star week. Pretty easy decision here as far as like consolation prizes go. You get some of the best one. I've said that word like 90 times now. But that does take us to the next week, and you guys are going to see a pattern here. And that is, well, just good cards, right? We've got Wiccan, and Wiccan is going to come alongside Pixie and Loki. And I love what they did here, right? If you're missing out the big cards and you want big power, you got to go with Red Hulk and Blob. But this week is all about the mischief, right? You have Pixie and Loki, both of which cards are some amongst my most played. Now, Wiccan, the jury's out. You guys can see my review on the card. I'm not as crazy about him as maybe Marvel Boy, but it's got Loki. And if you don't have Loki, now's the time to get him. And if you don't have Loki, you probably don't have Pixie, who's a very good energy cheating card as well, used in a lot of meta decks in and out. So definitely a hot week for somebody like me who enjoys this playstyle. Some of you guys may hate Loki and Pixie, and this is an easy skip. For the majority, I would say it's about a 3.5 week, probably. Maybe 4, 3.5, because Wiccan, I'm not, jumping up and down for. But definitely, if this is your style more than the big boy, big power, I would go with this week. Now, the next week is Speed, who I just don't think is going to make the cut for a ton of competitive decks. But he does come with Jeff and Iron Lad. And boy, do the devs know what they're doing here. I think Speed is arguably the worst card of the month. Not saying he's terrible, just the worst of the month. But there's Iron Lad, and there's Jeff. Now, there is a Jeff week coming out, and I don't know if that means everybody's going to get a free Jeff. It's like going to tie in with Shark Week. Heck, maybe this ties in with Shark Week. I'm not really sure. I haven't watched Animal Planet in a minute. But if it doesn't, maybe you already have Jeff. And for the majority of you, you probably already do. But for those that don't, this is a freaking home run hit. I don't want to give it a insane, like, you must get this week, because Speed is the kind of the weakest of the bunch. But Jeff and Iron Lad is some of the strongest, most flexible. You're going to be using them in Marvel Snap for a long time to come. Just core cards of the game. And so, very strong week here as well. You're going to notice, I'm going to give it like a 3.5. I think it's kind of like last week. If you're missing these cards, you can look at the last couple of weeks and see which ones you should go all in for. Which is going to take us to our last week. And that is another tough one, because Emperor Hulkling is probably my favorite card, or right up there for the month. We'll talk about him in a moment. And he comes alongside Cannonball and Nimrod. Now, if you pulled Nimrod, my condolences already. Pretty garbage card. You're not really going to use him all that much. Just being honest. Cannonball is Cannonball. He's gotten worse since he came out because of the Professor X shenanigans, but still very good. Just a great card and a good ability in general. And then Hulkling. Hulkling, I think, is going to be a banger. A lot of people don't think he's going to have this massive plug-and-play ability or potential, but the fact of the matter is he can really pop off, and I think he's going to be a great card to have in your collection. And so because of that, right at 3 stars because of Cannonball and Hulkling together. Nimrod single-handedly takes this week down, but this is going to be another one to evaluate if you have these cards or you don't. I think a lot of you guys don't have Cannonball, which makes this week a bit more enticing to combine with the Hulkling altogether. And so that's kind of what I meant at the beginning of this video. You need to identify the playstyle you like. You need to identify kind of the cards that you're interested in. And again, go check out the videos where I broke down the new cards so you have a good idea of what they all do. But what I can say with full confidence is pretty much all the cards we've been waiting for a while. Hope Summers, Iron Lad, and some of these cards to come back. they're all coming in the next couple of months. And so just save. Make sure you save for 4 keys on the cards that you really want. And you want to try to get that new card and or the variants and or the cards that you might be missing. Hopefully this helps you guys a little bit. I know I wasn't any firm stance like 1 star, 5 stars, screw this week. But that's because they, damn Second Dinner did a pretty good job spacing some of these cards out the way they did. So let me know what cards and what weeks are you most excited about down in the comments below. If you haven't already, subscribe. It would mean a lot. We're trying to make our way to 150K subscribers, and it really means a lot. It means that you're enjoying the content I'm putting out there. As always, guys, have a good one. Have a great one. Till the next one. Happy snapping.